Okay. Hello, and welcome to Clarion West's Write-a-thon question and answer. This is our foray into online programming, and we're testing this out for our author series, as well as giving you some background on what to expect during our Write-a-thon. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the First People of Seattle, the Duwamish people, past and present, and honor with gratitude the land itself and the Duwamish tribe. My name is Misha Stone, she, her, and I am a Clarion West board member and a public librarian who specializes in readers advisory, aka helping people find good books to read. I wanted to share Clarion West's mission statement tonight, and here it is. We support emerging and underrepresented voices by providing writers with world-class instruction to empower their creation of wild and amazing worlds. Through conversation and public engagement, we bring those voices to an ever-expanding community. Thank you for being a part of that ever-expanding community. Held annually for the past 35 years, Clarion West is an extensive 6-week workshop for emerging science fiction, fantasy, and horror writers. The workshop gives students essential tools for improving their writing, as well as friendships and professional contacts that can last a lifetime. Alexander Chee quoted his instructor, Deborah Eisenberg, when he reflected on his own experience in a writing workshop. You meet people in your family that you'd never run into otherwise. Thank you to all who make contributions to help writers find this kind of community that will sustain them throughout their careers. I want to say that I'm proud as a board and community member to see how Clarion West is living up to its mission in these challenging times. Our executive director, Marnie Chua, and the workshop staff have pivoted in the most incredible way in the last few months. And it is clear that while COVID-19, we knew it was going to impact our programming, we didn't know how we'd be able to continue to provide our programs in the foreseeable future. And you can see, and you'll hear tonight, how much we have been doing and how much we will continue to do to support writers. Opening up many of our classes for free, we literally crashed our own website when everything started, and our Write-a-thon signups are astronomically going up and up this year, which is fantastic. It's unbelievably robust, and we thank you for that. I want to thank the National Endowment for the Arts, King County for Culture, the Amazon Literary Partnership, the Seattle Office of Arts and Culture, the Sherman Family Foundation, Hugo House, the Seattle Public Library, and the University Bookstore for their support of our programs and hosting of the readings. However, the largest percentage of funding comes from individual donors. So we really encourage you to donate, to give during the Write-a-thon and beyond at clarionwest.org. What's great about the Write-a-thon is it raises money for authors and for Clarion West itself, and it motivates writers to create new stories. Thank you to the writers who are participating in the Write-a-thon this year, and those writers who have not yet signed up. There's still time. Be patient with us, though. And if you wish to donate, again, please go to clarionwest.org. No donation is too small. I'm here tonight to introduce my fellow board member, Shweta Adyam, who will be introducing two of our incredible workshop staff to talk about what is in store for this year's Write-a-thon. And I'm going to introduce them. Shweta belongs to Madras and Seattle and speculative fiction. She speaks 5 languages, has had 4 careers, is 3 layers of immigrant, calls 2 cities home, and strongly believes escapism is vital. She is frenemies with ADHD, knows far more about Hindu mythology than is good for her, and attended Clarion West in 2017. Jay Steinbecker is a queer non-binary trans writer and editor and East Coast transplant. They helped run the Clarion West 6-week workshop as its coordinator and attended the workshop in 2014. Jay is a graduate of North Carolina State University's Master of Fine Arts program in fiction. In 2017-2018, Jay was named North Carolina Arts Council Fellow in Literature. Jay writes speculative fiction, which includes literary science fiction, fantasy, and horror, with a particular focus on gender, relationships, and the body. And Rashida J. Smith is the workshop administrator for Clarion West 6-week workshop, and writing as Jasmine Silvera is the author of the Grace Bloods and Tooth and Spell books. She's been shipping popular fictional characters since the Skulder days and has a weakness for oatmeal raisin cookies. She lives in Seattle in a household voted most likely to be turned into a sitcom. Take it away, Shweta, Jay, and Rashida.
Well, hello, everyone. Good evening to all of you. I guess given Misha has basically touched all the bases on the introductions, we'll just jump right into the interview. So my first question, and I think it's probably on the minds of a lot of people out there, is what is going on with the 6-week workshop? We're not getting the Write-a-thon yet, but I just want to get this out of the way. What's going on with them? What's going on with the instructors? What's going on with the cohort? And most importantly, what does this mean for next year's application cycle? If you two could fill us in on that, that would be a good start, I think.
Mm-hmm. I'll start off with the logistical aspects, which are that we already notified a lot of folks, but we've postponed the workshop to next summer, and we're able to get all of the instructors to come back next summer. We're hoping to get as many of this cohort to come back as possible. There are folks in a lot of different countries, so a lot of that remains to be seen, but many of them are excited about that possibility. And Rashida, do you want to talk a little more about what they're up to right now?
Yeah, so the great thing about this class that makes it a little bit different than previous years is that they've already been communicating online quite a bit. They're in a online forum together, and it's been really amazing to watch them bond and get to know each other a little bit in that way. And they'll also be participating in some of the events that are going on this summer with the Write-a-thon as well.
Yeah, we aren't ready to make any announcements about next year in terms of our application cycle, just because there are a lot of unknowns. So when we know more about that, we will definitely be sending messages out about it.
Well, that is good to know. This year has just been tough on so many people for so many reasons. And I guess we're all just making do as well as we can with what we've got. And given that, let's jump right into the Write-a-thon. What is it for those of us who have not done it before, who have not heard of it before? How would you describe it?
Well, the standard Write-a-thon was a fundraiser that we would run during the 6-week workshop, and it was sort of an opportunity to write along with the class, and we would sort of keep them up to date about each week. But since we wouldn't have that underlying structure of the workshop going on, we built a lot of pieces out instead. And Rashida has been hard at work creating a huge Slack channel to house a lot of that, if you want to talk more about that piece of it.
Yeah, so what got really interesting and exciting about this opportunity that we have now is that the Write-a-thon kind of became our primary focus. It went from being a lovely add-on to the summer program and a way for writers to write along with the cohort that was attending Clarion West, a good way for the alumni to get back together and write and share stories and talk a little bit about what their lives have been like after Clarion, and for folks who haven't even been through the workshop but want to participate in the community, in which we have this incredible community that's part of the workshop and the organization. It was kind of a nice little add-on that we did, and it raised an enormous amount of money for the organization. We were very proud of it and very grateful to everyone who signed up and participate, who solicited donations from friends and families, from their jobs, or contributed themselves. They set goals for themselves. People were meeting those goals, writing stories. They could write chapters. They could edit whatever goal they wanted. And so it was this great little program that just sort of ran on the side. And this year, when the decision was made to postpone the live class and the in-person residential, we looked at what is our opportunity to turn the summer into something that still supports our community, supports the organization, and gives everybody something to do and something to look forward to, and an opportunity to interact. So one of the things we are doing is a gigantic Slack work group, which we've had for a while, and it's always just sort of been on the side. And this year we decided to really bulk it up with channels that are for any different interest groups, genre that you write in, the length that you prefer to write in, identity groups for writers of all identity. We are doing sprint rooms for people to find folks to sprint with. Our critique groups, which is also a new feature that we're going to be doing this summer, is also going to be run out of that Slack portion. So Slack has really kind of picked up the slack for us this summer and become a real...
I've been there.
Yeah, it's really incredible. We've got about 200 people now that are involved in the Slack channel. And they're introducing themselves to each other. They're making friends. We've got a channel that's basically designed for people who have resource questions about stories, or they're experts in a particular subject matter. They can go, hey, I know a lot about baseball in 1923, or I know a lot about spaceships, or I know a lot about whatever, and offer themselves and their expertise up to each other, which is really, really exciting.
So in addition to the social pieces, we are offering a bunch of free classes and the critique groups as well. And, we've got everybody from Elia Dawn Johnson to Scott Andrews to Karen Lord. I'm just throwing the names out there that pop into my head. But so we have a lot of short classes being taught for free, which are available to Write-a-thon participants. And then we have our critique groups set up so that we've asked the original 6-week lineup of instructors to send us all writing prompts and some writing advice on Saturdays. And so the idea is that anybody in critique groups, well, really anybody participating, can challenge themselves to write along to those prompts or to write along to whatever they want. But we just thought it would be an additional piece to have those instructors offer something weekly. And the instructors will also be meeting in a Zoom format live with the cohort to give a craft talk. And we'll be recording those talks and putting those up online also for free to Write-a-thon participants. And then most of the original lineup is also going to be giving readings. Although this year we have kind of an exciting final reading, which is that will be partnering with 2 Hour Transport, which is a local group that runs a lot of reading series here in Seattle, or would run them until we couldn't go out anywhere. But so they're going to partner with us to run an open mic. And that's way down the road at this point, or at least it feels like it'll be right around the corner. But so yeah, that'll be open to anybody who's participating in the Write-a-thon.
Phew, that's a lot of changes. If I had to summarize, I'm just going to try to count them off. There's the Slack group that's revamped with, we have used Slack before, but then it's been revamped with like interest group channels now. And then there are free classes, there are critique groups, and there are going to be talks, tech talk, I guess, craft talks, from the instructors to the current cohort, the 2021 cohort, and those are going to be available as well. They're all amazing. Do you have one thing you wish that a Write-a-thon participant this year would get out of all these changes? What is the one thing you're hoping they'll get out of it?
I hope that they get a sense of the community that Clarion West has to offer beyond what we've been able to provide before, just because of our geographic limitations. Even our events that we have locally are quite limited. You have to be in the Seattle area. We haven't been able to live stream things before. We haven't offered online classes like this before. And I think what we saw when we did the initial run of online classes back in April, which the response was overwhelming. It crashed our website. It, brought all our tiny little staff. We were all running around kind of delighted and terrified at the same time. But that was because all of a sudden we were able to welcome people into our community from all over the world. all over the country, time zones, the other side of the world. And so I really am, that is the thing I'm most excited about, is that for writers who would not be able to attend Clarion West in person, or go to a one-day class, or go to a class, or come to an event in the summertime, they too can have some bit of this amazing experience and community wherever they're at.
Yeah, and that's something, I was just gonna say, that's something we strive to do anyway with the workshop, but we're limited to 18 students this summer. So yeah, I think that's really probably the most exciting new piece, I think, this year, just given that we have the forum. I think, in addition to connecting in a social way, like, it's possible that some folks are going to come out of this with new crit partners, or just, make other connections about things that they're really excited about, either in their writing, or, maybe they join the Write-a-thon and they're not actively writing, but they find someone who, they start a virtual book club with after this event ends. Or, there's a lot of different pieces and ways people can get involved. But I love that there are a number of ways that could go. And I hope that those will all be positive experiences.
Yeah, I have to agree that I love that community is the focus of this entire exercise. Especially when we are not allowed to leave our houses and we don't get to see our friends face to face. It makes such a huge difference to be able to connect with them online, and to have that, to have basically human connection, right? So this is great. Tell me about the classes a little bit more, and the critique groups. I know that earlier these months we've established we had established a lottery system. Like Rashida said, when we first started offering these free classes, we were completely inundated. And we were terrified and excited at the same time. And then we decided that the best way to get around it was a lottery. How does this fit in with the Write-a-thon? What is the lottery system? Can I just sign up for a class? Can I pay for a spot? Do I need to make a donation to participate? What's the logistics around this?
So I'll start, and then probably Jay will have a lot more detail. The lottery system was designed for a way to be a little bit more equitable, to allow folks to get into classes. The one thing about the Write-a-thon, it's always been free to participate. It is a fundraiser ostensibly, but if the funds aren't there, if it's not possible, we still want you to come and participate, because the other goal of the Write-a-thon is that you get some writing done. And as writers, we all need a little deadline or excuse or a push or a little companionship to help us get the work done. Can really help and accountability can help make the difference. So first, we just want people to be able to write and participate with us. So you don't have to pay to participate. And the lottery system and the class offerings, we want everyone to have a chance to access a few. And we know that people's internet connections are different. The time zones are different. It advantages certain people to be able to sign up faster than others. And we saw this at the initial offering. And so, our goal as an organization is to provide access to this education. So we did want to make a lottery system so that it gives a span of time for people to participate, to put their names in the hat, and then allows us to better distribute the classes so that we can get as much access to them to as many people as possible. And the class offerings are amazing.
They really are.
Yeah, as far as the classes go, we've had a lot of folks teach for us over the spring when we set up a bunch of online classes. And so we're really open, if you're one of our former instructors or one of our alums and you want to reach out about teaching online for us, please do. We're pretty much closed for submissions for Write-a-thon classes, just because those are up and, getting filled as soon as the lottery shuts down. But we are going to be running a bunch more online classes through the fall. And but yeah, I don't want to talk at length about all the classes, but the list is up on the website. Maybe somebody can post it in the YouTube channel that's going along here. There's a lot of exciting things going on though.
And one of the great things about the classes too is that we've got classes that'll be on critical reading and how what ways to look at story as you're reading it and enjoy it on multiple levels. We'll have classes that are on writing craft. We'll have classes on business. So we're trying to approach the classes to give writers of all stages of their career something. And if you're not a writer and you're more of a reader and you just want to read along, those reading critically classes and those reading thematic classes might be of interest to you. And so the idea is that we've got a range of classes, and then we also have opportunities to write together. So one thing that we found, as we're all very isolated, and for writers that are already isolated, it's kind of a double hit, is that people want to write together. And so we have sprints, we have co-writing. So if you would like to write together, but you don't want the pressure of time or the pressure of goals, of like a set number of words to write, you can just get together in a room with other folks and write and just be present. One of those workshops is about getting through blocks and how to overcome when you're not able to write, like what to do with that. And so again, it's back to that community thing. So a lot of the classes are very interactive. They're not just someone talking into the camera at you for 45 minutes. You'll be participating as a class participant. So it's as best as we can give you a Clarion-esque experience.
Wonderful, wonderful. So tell me a little bit more about these sprints, these guided sprints. How does one sign up for those?
So in addition to the lottery, we also are running some signups for events that are events you can just sign up for on Eventbrite. And those links are all on the website. So once you've entered the lottery and you've got your classes request in, you can also take a look at the writing events page. And that'll be the events that are sprints, writing together opportunities, and also our Write-a-thon activities. And so those you can opt into. We just ask that, at the outset, just opt into one of a session of a particular set, and then give it a week or two. And then if you want another one, opt into another one. The sprints that are multiple sessions are often similar, the same material, and just offered a couple of different times.
Right.
So do read the direction or read the descriptions, and that way you don't think you're getting a series when it's going to be the same thing every time. Yeah.
Gotcha. Man, this is so exciting. What else are we doing this year? I mean, I know that seems like such an unfair question to ask.
What else? What more do you need, Shweta? We're doing all the things.
We're doing all the things, literally.
Well, I think Jay mentioned the 2-hour transport with this open mic night event that's kind of be sort of in the end of the wrap up, and that'll be open to the Write-a-thon participants to have an opportunity to read their work, and that's kind of fun. I think what is exciting too is that we'll have an editors roundtable in our 5th week. So the 5th week of Clarion West is generally an editor teaching that, and instead of having just one, we're lucky enough to have 4 editors that will be participating and kind of in this sort of forum where they're talking about their experience and industry and acquisitions and all of the things that writers want to know about submitting their stories and having them read.
That's amazing. So let's talk a little bit about one of the things that may give some potential participants a teensy bit of anxiety, which is donations. Are we obliged to get donations? How do the donations work? Do they come into the writer and then the writer gives it to Clarion West? Or does it go directly to Clarion West? And what are these donations used for? What are the things that they make possible?
The Zoom lurch.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jay. Sorry.
That's okay. So we talked before about encouraging folks who are participating in the Write-a-thon to fill out their profiles because It's kind of like a walk-a-thon in the sense that, you want to ask friends, family, maybe work, especially if they have like donation matching to sponsor you. And all of that funding helps us build out workshops. A lot of it goes towards, supporting the costs of running the 6-week. Next year is going to be a different experience because we will be moving into accessible housing at the University of Washington. And so that's going to be more expensive than our typical setup. But, we also provide scholarship funding for a lot of our students. That's one way that we try to be as accessible as possible, is to make sure that financial reasons aren't the reason why folks can't join us for the summer. So whether it's building out like funding for students, more additional classes, more staff time. I feel like all of these donations are going towards, one piece or another, but yeah, I'm like, I'm not the money person over here. I just run the workshop, but I see that, on the ground, like we have to get supplies for the printer and things like that for the students when they're here during the 6-week. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ways that goes out to support the writers.
And if you are looking to donate, the donate button's on the website, and you can actually pick whether you want to sponsor one writer or 20 writers. You can sponsor all the writers. We would love that. And that lets them know that people are rooting for them and hoping that they meet their goals, because it's part of that profile is you can set what goal you want to accomplish for the summer, whether that's a word count or a number of stories finished or a chapter edited or anything you like. And so what you do is you ask folks to sponsor you to meet that goal. And so as a sponsor, you just head over to the website and hit that donate button. It'll give you the opportunity to donate for a writer, all the writers you choose. And it really does make it possible for us to do so many free online classes, because it's great that we have the opportunity, but and we want to make them accessible by having opportunities for folks to come for free. But that does cost money. The internet's charge us for that kind of thing. So it would be great. It's great to have help to support those ways that we make our workshop more accessible to everyone. And I missed one thing that's new this year in the classes bit that I wanted to mention is, for the first time, we'll actually have an editor teaching a class about editing. Which is awesome. And Wendy's great. So again, another aspect that if that's what's of interest to you as a writer or a person who is a lover of words, that might be an interesting class to head toward as well.
Wendy Wagner, editor of Nightmare Magazine.
Yeah, Wendy's great. And that seems like an amazing class to take if you have any editorial ambitions, any editorial wishes. So yeah, we have a question coming from the audience. And someone asks, what do you need to do to attend the summer reading series on Tuesday nights?
We will be
if you've made it this far, yeah, you know how to do it. You've gotten here. So yeah.
We'll be streaming them to YouTube. So much like this conversation, if you're in there and you're asking questions, when we open the summer readings to Q&A, you'll be able to participate and ask any questions you might have, but it's basically what you're already doing. I imagine we'll have, if they're not already up on the website, because my brain is in a spiral right now, but that we'll have pretty clear links to get to all of those offerings.
Yeah, so you can actually, the information about each reading is on the site. And then also if you want to head through Eventbrite to set a calendar reminder for yourself, because if you're anything like me, if something's not written down 12 times, kind of go somewhere, you can actually go through that process, which will reserve your spot, and then you'll have it in your calendar. And they also will be promoted through on the Seattle Public Library and the University Bookstore sites, who are two of our sponsors for that summer reading series.
Well, there you go. I hope we've answered your question, Oscar, and that you find your way to the reading series. So we have another question from the audience. Will there be prizes or tuckerizations available this year?
I think the answer is yes. If you search in folks' profiles, the answer might be yes for some of us who may not have updated our profiles since last year and might want to do that before committing to certain things. But I would recommend going to the Write-a-thon page and searching through the profiles of folks who are registered to see what they're offering. Because if you make a donation in specific people's names, then you'll be eligible to get those.
Yeah, and there are usually some amazing things on offer too, like tarot readings, customized poems, customized flash fic, tuckerizations, all sorts of good things. So,
there was a question in chat.
Okay.
Let me just make sure I can ask it coherently. I think it was about Rashida's Goldilocks Sprints, which is not a class. So it's not in the class lottery, but it is a weekly recurring series.
Yeah, and that's one that you can sign up for on Eventbrite. So if you actually go to our site and you look in the listing, there'll be a little link that'll take you to reserve your spot for that. That's going to be a weekly Zoom series, and we're basically just exploring how sprinting at different time intervals can help your productivity. There's some things that are great to do in a short time and some things that are great to do in a long time, and we'll just see what works best for you. So that's the plan.
Awesome. So we have another question. If we get stuck while registering or can't find something, what's the best way to get help?
So if you're having problems with your registration or the lottery, you'll want to email Write-a-thon at clarionwest.org. That is our help desk, and help desk at clarionwest.org will get you sorted. And we know that folks are having issues. Do remember that there's a little bit of time after you register. It will take a little bit before you're eligible to enter the lottery because there's a switch that has to be flipped on the magical back end. So be patient. If that's the case, we've got you in the queue. And again, the response this year has been incredible. It has been delightful to see how much interest there is in the Write-a-thon. We love having you write with us, but it is definitely, we're a small organization. So we're building it as we go. And we appreciate your patience, and we'll get you all sorted as quickly as possible.
And once you're actively using the Slack group, if you need help with anything, you can just call the admins with a little what's the @ symbol?
At admins. Yeah.
Yeah, at admins.
Yeah.
Ampersand. Anyway, you could just summon us, and we're usually pretty quick to hop on and take a look at what's going on.
Awesome. We have a couple more questions. Will the readings be recorded so people can listen later?
Yes. So both the readings and craft talks are going to be recorded and released. And the craft talks will be released first to Write-a-thon participants. Seems like a nice little exclusive for those folks who are signed up. Down the road, we may be releasing those more publicly, or we may just decide to go ahead and do that. But the readings will also be recorded and should be available up on our YouTube channel eventually.
Awesome. I had a question, Rashida, as you were talking about we needing to flip a switch in the back end. What's the time a potential Write-a-thon participant needs to register for the Write-a-thon by, so that they have time to enter the lottery, which is closing tomorrow?
Yeah, so definitely I would say register as soon as possible, because it will take a couple of hours. Now, that said, do the registration bit, and once we've got you in the queue, even if the lottery part closes, we'll know that the folks in the queue will give you a chance to do the lottery. So don't panic if you register tonight and you can't quite get into the lottery tomorrow morning. We're working on it. And we know that your registration, at what time you registered. And so everyone who's registered before that cutoff time, we'll sort you out and make sure that you have access to that lottery.
Yes, if you are listening to us right now and you're thinking about registering, as soon as this is over, go do it, because at noon tomorrow that closes.
Well, all right. I think that's about it for questions, both from me and the audience. So thank you very much, Jay and Rashida, for your time.
Can I plug one final thing?
Yeah.
You'd asked us about what's coming up, and we hadn't really talked about later in the year, but we are planning to make October a month of horror and have a lot of short online workshops. We're especially interested in getting a lot of Black, Indigenous, people of color involved in teaching for us, because there are so many amazing horror writers out there. And we may also be attempting to pilot an online, maybe a week-long workshop that mimics the same format as the 6-week. So
nice.
We'll see how that goes, but keep an eye out for that. And we're going to try to get these things up and running and announced probably by later this summer.
Woohoo! That sounds amazing. Do you have anything else up, hiding in your hat to spring out at us?
That's all for tonight.
Okay.
Like give something to come back for.
Yeah.
For the rest of the secrets.
Well, thank you all for watching. I hope you sign up for the Write-a-thon. Go get those classes on lottery. Remember, they're not first come, first serve. So just go right away and sign in, and you will have a chance in the lottery. I hope to see you at our reading series as well, beginning next Tuesday, if I'm correct. Yeah, next Tuesday. So, well, thank you all very much, and
Thanks, Shweta.
have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.